All right, we are live and on the air on both YouTube and Twitch. So welcome everyone to the Foolish Tech Show. It is a kind of warm, unseasonably warm day, Thursday here. And we are here mainly to provide support and answer any questions for our products and services. If you do have any of those, you can jump over to foolishtechshow.com. We'll be happy to talk to you directly from there. Otherwise, we'll spend our time talking shop and expressing random opinions, which are each of our own and not of the company. Feel free to jump into our IRC chat as well to partake in those adventures as well. So welcome, and how's everyone doing today?
Doing well.
Pretty good.
Bueno.
Not too bad.
Well, I want to start off with a story here. You remember that Nordstrom leather wrap rock we talked about? $85?
Sure do.
Yep.
Well,
We forget.
apparently it's sold out. Careful, that does have a auto-playing video on it. But yeah.
Hopefully they sold out because they only had 10 of them.
I would have. I don't know how it happened, but apparently it's a heavy seller. So, man, that's like $85 for a rock and a piece of leather. Like I could probably make one of those. I should be making those. What are we doing? We should be making leather wrap rocks. It's easy to do that little bit of leather. But anyway, I got some other things here. How about this? This is a guy that made a shotgun into a guitar.
That sounds dangerous.
Pretty interesting. Can't really play and fire at the same time, but he like plays some and then shoots and then plays some more and shoots. It's kind of interesting.
I guess that kind of cuts down on the critics of your guitar playing.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, Phoenix, welcome. And here's Shigeru Miyamoto playing the Super Mario Brothers theme with the Roots. That was pretty interesting. And then I got a couple of Raspberry Pi things here. I know Zombie Worm's not here, but here's how you can turn your Raspberry Pi into a Plex player. So if you want to have a Plex server, you can do that with Raspberry Pi now. And then you can make an FM repeater. Although from the comments, it looks like this is more just for so you know the kind of theories and things behind it and can get acquainted with it. It's not really to be used. Apparently the same price range you can get a FM repeater that's far superior to this. So, but pretty cool just to know the info and learn how to do those things. And then Make has a couple DIY projects for Raspberry Pi. I think one of them was like a binocular thing. Pinoculars. I thought that was pretty cool. I haven't seen that one yet. But otherwise, I got the Tor VPN routing, drone, and pirate radio station, and a photo booth. So some interesting Pi projects, and gives you ideas to give people a Pi for the holidays. And If you've ever wondered how to add a lightsaber in Photoshop, it's right there. This person takes you through all the steps of adding a real glowing lightsaber to your pictures with Photoshop. And Phoenix posted that Turkish hackers are giving away prizes for participating in DDoS attacks. I'm assuming that does not mean the people's computers that have been turned into botnets for that DDoS attack. I assume it's the people doing the turning, but kind of interesting that they're going that route. Hey, Johnny, I found something just for you.
I can't wait to see it.
It's a BB-8 alarm clock, and it
Oh.
goes crazy when the alarm sets off.
Oh, it just runs around and you have to catch it?
I don't know if it runs around.
How cool would that be if it did?
That would be cool.
That's a lot of money to waste a bullet on an alarm clock that won't sit still.
Yeah.
Well, I would not shoot it.
It's hard to be mad at BB-8, even if he's waking you up in the morning.
It does look like he moves.
Does he roll around though?
He did hit the side of that wood thing.
Oh, so he does roll around. That's cool. And Phoenix posted that Russia's new law is proposing 10 years in prison for hackers and malware authors. And I believe the caveat in that is that it's 10 years in prisons for hackers and malware authors that are attacking Russia. They don't care about anywhere else. If you attack Russia and you live in Russia, you are not very smart. But I thought this was a little bit more interesting. So new ransomware is being developed, and it's been dubbed Popcorn Time. No relation to the DVD or the streaming video service that was previously out there, which I think that's down now. But it's called Popcorn Time, and it does something interesting here. So instead of just forcing you to pay to recover your files, it gives you a second option. And that second option is you can try to get other people encrypted by trying to get them to download from a link that you send them. And then if 2 people pay for their ransomware to be decrypted, then your files will be decrypted. So it's kind of like an affiliate ransomware decryption style. I thought that was interesting tactic. And it gives you 2 options. It says, restore your files the fast and easy way, restore your files the nasty way. I don't think this one is live yet. They kind of were talking like it's still in development, but yeah, pretty crazy there. And I believe I have that extension in the honeypot stuff. Let's see. Yep. So if you have the latest version, which we released a new one, 2 new ones today actually, of the latest version is currently 8.0.1.7, and it updates a lot of the honeypot detection abilities in the most recent update. So go ahead and update now if you haven't already, and you'll be protected against even that one when it comes out. So cool there. And hey, HP Mike 43, how's it going? I thought this was pretty interesting as well. Apparently they found the first dinosaur tail to be preserved in amber. And guess what? It had feathers all over it. So dinosaurs might have been covered in feathers like they have been thinking. more
I think
closely.
that, I mean, I think they've all agreed that all of them absolutely were covered in feathers. But let me see that picture that you just sent.
Well, I'm pretty sure I went to a museum and they still weren't covered in feathers, so not
Well,
everyone.
that's the problem. They spend a lot of money on doing those things. It's not easy to redesign them, and it's also not easy to update all the.
Are you kidding me? Tar and feathering's like the oldest known thing in the book. Super cheap.
I mean, if it were only that easy.
I mean, they ain't got to make it look good.
Here we go. Oh yeah, that's easily well made out. Yeah.
Yeah, those are definitely feathers on
See,
them.
well, that's the thing, we still, pretty much tell the kids that, Columbus discovered this country, and that's not terribly accurate either. So, there's a problem with the historical education, and it'll be a while, I'm sure, before kids will generally recognize this to be the case. I don't even think that there is 100% consensus typically in the scientific community, although it's pretty high. I will say it's probably right at that cusp. But it'll take that first, and then, of course, budgets to buy new books and to create the new exhibits for these types of things. I'm sure you'll see it probably come about in smaller venues a little bit more rapidly, but
Even Jurassic Park wasn't covered in feathers.
I know it doesn't make them look terribly scarier. It actually makes them look less scary, and they want them to look scary. So.
I'm pretty sure I'd be scared of a 60-foot freaking bird with huge ass teeth coming at me.
Well,
Not like I'm gonna go up, no, pet it.
yeah. I mean,
Still make birds look scary. Heck, they ain't even got to be adjusted. Birds, Hitchcock's Bird showed you that. Birds are scary, man. Especially since they fly in gangs. We gotta do a page about
a gang or a gaggle of geese, a gang of what is it? I don't know.
bird gangs. All these crows and their gangs.
Unless they're seagulls.
Seagull gangs are the worst, man. They're like the clown gangs at the circus.
Spread in the 1980s everywhere they go.
So Phoenix posted about a Yahoo flaw that allowed hackers to read anyone's emails. I believe the flaw has already been patched in Yahoo, so that's good. More importantly, though, Zelda's Ocarina of Time is coming to vinyl. So you can soon have 2 vinyls of Zelda's Ocarina of Time, arguably the greatest Zelda ever made, that I played at least. And they did it with a full orchestra too, so I thought that was pretty cool. And oh, Proctor, you were talking about they don't have much on Google Home. Apparently that's about to change because they've opened up its assistant to developers. Now, I'm not sure if it's just on the Pixel smartphones or if it goes with the home speaker. They mentioned the home speaker there as well, but yeah, so they're opening it up to developers, so soon you'll have a lot more things it can do. That list I sent you yesterday was fairly limited. Let's see if I can find that and post that in here as well. Did you look over that list?
You sent me a list?
Yeah, I sent it in the Hangout last night. I'll post it here.
Ah, I see it
That's
now.
a list of all the Google Home commands so far, and I think I like Google Home's answer better than Alexa's.
This is CNET, and here are the...
You ask it if it farted. Google says you can blame it if you'd like, but Alexa says it's incapable of passing gas. But yeah, there's very few commands for it, and I guess I don't really understand why they make it so limited when you have all those commands on your phone you can do. I wouldn't see why those wouldn't be like automatically available on the assistant, but I guess it has to go through the Google Home app, and
Yeah.
probably because it allows you can you put Google Home on an iPhone?
Yeah, I have it on one.
Yeah, so that's probably why. So thanks for that, Proctor. Because they have to be compatible with your iPhone that doesn't have Google built into it. We get a very limited list of commands. So, yep. So those are those, and I had some other really good things here. I'm trying to pull it back up. Oh, so Disney figured out how to make CGI or CG sugar, and it does look pretty good, although I could say that it probably still looks computer generated when you look at it real close and hard. But what they're doing there is fairly impressive, and I think the bigger part of this news is the fact that it renders much faster, where doing something like this before took a lot longer to render. The new technique they have renders a lot faster, and that's the big news here, but can apply to sugar, salt, sand, all kinds of things like that. So they have to add, like, I think they said a car kicking up dust in a video game will look more realistic using this technology. So
Cool. It looks promising when they threw in the darker colored material. It looked a lot more CG.
yeah, and that's where I was saying, like, when it tried to shift and shade them is where it definitely looked a lot more CG basic. But I mean, it does look pretty good overall. I mean, I would almost, like, if I was just glancing at it, I would say, yeah, that's just a bowl of sugar. What about it? Yeah, it does look pretty cool, and the physics behind that is extremely complicated because each one of those grains is its own object basically, and they have to think about it as far as like billiards, hitting balls and where they're going to go from there. So it is quite complex to do something like that. That's why water always looks so terrible in all your games, because it's so hard to mimic water graphically. And I would think that maybe if they applied the same thing, they could possibly make it like water. I mean, that could easily be a bowl of water, I would think. So maybe they can adapt it and make water look even better in CG stuff. Oh, and this is the only time that you're lucky to have an Apple, Proctor, because Super Mario Run is coming to iPhone and Android, but it's coming to iPhone or Apple iOS, I guess, December 15th, and apparently it's supposed to be fairly fun. I believe this is Nintendo's first mobile game, so it does
awesome.
look nice. It looks pretty nice, and
Is it free or paid? Do you know?
I would imagine it's going to be paid.
Okay. Well, there's a stocking stuffer.
At the least, I would imagine it's going to be you buy stuff in game.
Yeah.
I didn't read the whole article to get all the details, and skimming, I don't see anything about costs. Oh, nope. Nintendo decided to price Super Mario Run at $9.99. So $9, $10 for that game. It does look pretty nice though. It definitely looks Nintendo styled. So that should be exciting to see how that comes about, how that plays out, and next year I'll be able to play it on Android.
I'll tell you how it is on the 15th.
Okay. It's not going to be as good on iOS though.
That's okay. I have an iPhone and an iPad.
Yep. So Johnny can play it.
Brantley lets you bring those in the house.
He has an iPhone as well.
Yeah, it's in the closet. iPhone 3G.
Oh wow.
Oh, you know, you can sell that to some ID10T.
Probably could. It's a little bit busted. Actually, is that one mine or did I get that one from you,
They're all
Johnny?
a little bit busted.
No, you got it from a different ex. What was her name? You had it when I moved in.
Oh, then it was mine. I did have an iPhone at when they were that time, because at that time, the time of the 3G, there was only the G1, which was that weird shaped phone from Google, and Android was still on version 2 or something like that. So it wasn't worth buying an Android phone at the time, so I did end up buying an iPhone. And it was okay, but it was definitely like just a freaking phone. I actually got more enjoyment having a Windows phone than I did the iPhone. I'm talking about like not Windows 10 phone. I'm talking about like the Windows CE.
Old Windows phone.
Yeah, the Windows CE
really?
phones. Yeah.
That surprises me.
I had those at the shop when we were working together. Byron did too.
Yeah, no, it surprises me that you enjoyed those more than
The iPhone?
I still remember. I don't remember.
Yeah. The iPhone's just it feels so limited. Like you feel so constrained when you're using it. Like you're like feel like all you should be doing is texting or calling someone. Like not doing other stuff with it. The apps seem like I don't know. I
I
don't
do
like
all kinds of things with mine. I don't know how you feel constrained.
I don't know. I don't like it still though. Michael just sent me a message because he's apparently not able to talk in chat, but maybe he just didn't want to interrupt us. That Computer Weekly has a story about PowerShell security greater than ever.
Yeah.
So we have seen that trend. A lot of ransomware and things like that have started moving towards using PowerShell, which PowerShell is extremely powerful. And once you get administrative rights, you can pretty much do whatever you want with the computer at that point.
I can't remember the exact number. Is it? I don't know if you have it open, but was it 98% or something like that of all PowerShell scripts that they identified were malicious? So, you know.
Oh yeah, and what's fun about that is Windows 10 is going to replace CMD with PowerShell.
Yeah, so actually the bad guys in this case are a little bit ahead of the game, but it's going to get even, I'm sure it's going to get even more interesting once that occurs.
Oh, what?
Yeah, one of the latest insider builds has no more command prompt. You only can use PowerShell. And PowerShell supposedly can do all of the command processing in that.
That's scary. What about the people that rely on?
It's supposed to be backward compatible, so.
Well, not if you're calling CMD, I'd imagine. Well, maybe they might have put that in.
There better be a stub in there. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, they can't just do that.
Yeah.
And it's probably still going to screw up crap tons.
I imagine it will.
I mean, the behavior of CMD. I mean, there are like bugs in there, or like quirks, or just things that are holdover from older things that aren't.
And what I don't understand
people
those
take advantage of and use. So
they redid the command prompt in Windows 10. Like they made it so much nicer. You can like expand the screen all the way, adjust things much easier. It's a lot nicer in Windows 10. And then they're just gonna drop it? That doesn't make sense. I think it is only on the preview builds right now, and as we've seen with that long file names thing, sometimes things in the preview builds don't actually make it to.
see, I thought this was going to be in. I thought this This was going to be another, oh, they replaced it in the start menu when you know, I mean, it's like they, the first, what was it? Start menu, I don't know. Like when Windows 10 first came out, it did that. It ran PowerShell instead of AMD.
Yeah. Well, no, they
When
apparently.
you right click on the button, it gives you the PowerShell instead of command prompt option. I mean, that's what I thought you were talking about, but people raised hell.
Yeah.
And they put it back by default, and now you have to do PowerShell. You have to manually configure that if you want that instead, for that space. When it was vice versa, people raised hell. I don't see how that's gonna fly well, but oh well.
I'm trying to see if I can find the article that says where. Yeah, here we go. So if you want to read more about that, there's an article about that. And this build's believed to be the basis for Redstone 2 upgrade coming out early next year. So their next, basically anniversary edition update is supposed to be the basis for it. Apparently you can uncheck that option.
What option?
So there's an option under personalization taskbar, replace command prompt with PowerShell, but that's only in the menu when you right click.
That's what I was talking about.
Yeah. So I guess
it was originally PowerShell by default, and now it's not.
I guess then apparently they're bringing that back.
But it was just replacing the start menu option.
Yeah, they don't have very many details on this thing.
And the shortcut, looks like this is talking about a shortcut.
Yeah, so you can still type CMD and it'll bring up.
Yeah,
Oh well.
I'm just trying again.
Yeah, they're going for it.
What that's about.
I thought this was pretty awesome. So y'all, I think we've even talked about it. Those jetpacks that use water to like fly you around and stuff. Well, someone took one of those and turned it into a Star Wars speeder bike, and it is freaking awesome. Like that would definitely make it worth the thousands of dollars those jetpacks cost. But yeah, that would be freaking awesome, man. We already talked about the 10 years in prison. Looks like Malwarebytes has now reached version 3, and they've fully released it, and they're basically saying they're an antivirus company at this point now. And their other two products that used to be Singular Anti-Exploit and their somewhat anti-ransomware are all now in Malwarebytes 3 and all in one interface, and you can do everything all in one.
I know people have been wanting that, but because basically, they just did it the other way to get more money. I would only assume. I mean, it makes sense. And then I guess they went back on that. They took I thought they took a bit of criticism for it. I mean, at least from me. Having like all these separate utilities that essentially do the same thing.
Yeah, probably.
They're calling themselves an antivirus now because they combined 3 different utilities that do the same thing and added some heuristics or something. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I still wouldn't
read about that and criticize them more later when I have time.
But they are, they do say in here that if you want to use them as separate apps still, you can't have Malwarebytes 3. So just keep that in mind. if for some reason you do want separate ones. And I thought this article was pretty cool. So I didn't know about this, but apparently there's like a big corner in, I think it's in England, is it? In London. The London's Piccadilly Circus has, it's kind of like the New York thing where you have huge screens, advertising and stuff. But apparently they're about to replace the 6 massive screens that they have there with a new 784 square meter display. And it has a greater than 4K resolution and contains 3-in-1 LEDs that are capable of generating trillions of colors and exceptional brightness, and it will also retain its curved shape. How big is that in inches? 784 square meters, 2 inches. That's not how that works. Maybe I don't want square. I would still need square, I think, but if I just go meter to inch, that's a 30,000 inch TV that they're about to put up there. And apparently, though, this is one of very few times that this has ever not been lit up. The other few times that it has not been lit up was during a blackout during and after World War II, Winston Churchill's funeral, and Princess Diana's funeral. Otherwise, these things have been on constantly. That's pretty impressive.
Wow.
Michael has a cool Mars video, which is that YouTube link, and then the other one was about Windows 10 coming to Snapdragon processors. So Qualcomm processors will be able to use Windows 10 and emulate x86. We briefly mentioned that earlier. Michael, what does the Pi have? Is that a Qualcomm? You're muted.
Okay, so the Raspberry Pi 3 has an ARMv8 core, as quad ARMv8 cores. So, there would be speed differences and potentially other architectural differences, but theoretically, unless there are literally some hooks with Qualcomm chips and Microsoft's code that maybe makes those the only chips that they support, unless that's the case, and they would have to specifically do that, I'm betting that you can probably ultimately get their emulation to run on any ARMv8 platform. So I think that's really cool, but there's some limitations to note. One is that they're only emulating 32-bit x86 applications. Okay, so that's gonna limit a couple of things from being able to run, and there may be some issues. It remains to be seen what the ultimate performance is. They were showing, obviously, it ran just fine in the video that they showed there, but without some specs, a little bit more decent specs, we got some idea of the speed of the processors that were above 2 gigahertz, 4 cores, but we didn't know a whole lot much else about it. Now, Qualcomm has made some important announcements regarding even, I think, going into the server chip area and having a 48 core chip as well. And so they're
ARM server.
Server chips, yeah, they're trying to go up against Intel, frankly, and it looks to be an interesting thing because it's supposed to be more cost effective, and Intel's high end only has, I think, up to 24 cores at this point, so it could potentially have an advantage there. But this is their second, I believe. Let me see if I can get an article on this.
But yeah, it is. I mean, that's not that big of a disadvantage, though, only being able to run 32-bit things. And I would imagine it is going to be limited to the Qualcomm chip somehow, because they had to do some magic work to get x86 code running on ARM.
Well, yeah, maybe, but I don't know. I think it's going to be. They would be shooting themselves in the foot if they were going straight for just for Qualcomm. I mean, there's no reason. And one of the things that Qualcomm is touting is that these that it's compatible. And I think as far as their chip, with the
I mean, they could still be compatible and have additional features.
well, I suppose, yeah, that's true. That's true.
And that's what I'm thinking is going to happen. And Qualcomm chips are mainly reside in mobile devices like phones and tablets and things.
But check out that that link there to the 48 core offering. Now that could, you know, if Microsoft and got some deal with them, then I think that that's going to be make Intel go crazy, because basically all those servers out there running on Intel chips can basically be replaced with cheaper, potentially, if the performance is up there, equally performing or better performing.
ARM's usually a lot more power efficient.
Yeah, power efficiency and data centers, they want to save money on that, so that's a big push for them.
Yeah.
A lot of times you have to throw more cores at it to get the equivalent level of performance, but with their efficiency in that regard, it's not that bad to do.
So I thought this was interesting that Indegogo is now updated their terms and are going to use collection agencies to go after fraudsters. This is a main reason why I don't deal with any crowdfunding things, is because essentially you give them money and they could just decide to keep it and not do anything.
That's what I was kind of bringing up. I was concerned about that. So.
I'm glad about that. I don't think this is the way to fix that at all. I mean, collection agencies are not like the way to get your money back. So, I don't know. At least they're trying, though, I guess. But I would say like they should be a middleman bank kind of thing, and if the person doesn't deliver, then the people get their money back. I don't know. I'm just not a big fan of how crowdsourcing is currently working. And
did we already talk about this guy, the T-Mobile one? I thought it was interesting because it basically just sent you other users' information. So if you signed up early for this digits thing that they have or whatever, it looks like you would just be randomly getting, if you signed in, you'd be randomly getting various people's information.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, I saw that article about them releasing Digit and offering all your devices to come, and I was like, isn't that what Google Voice is for?
Well, but isn't there security implications to that anyway? And if this is their first attempt,
yeah, if they're just sending them to random people, lots of security.
Exactly. So
but I'm saying that Google Voice already does that.
Well, I think people have well, I mean, I don't know. There's trust issues though, and this I don't think helps them out any in that regard. But
yeah, definitely not the best way to open up. No. So we had talked about the wildfires in Tennessee and the Appalachian Mountains.
A little one did it. A little one did it.
Yeah, they found out actually 2 kids started the fire.
2.
So,
the name's Damien or something like that, or maybe.
I don't know. I don't have it in here.
Beelzebub and Damien, maybe.
And it's actually believed many of the fires on the east here have been.
Oh, they're serial arsonists?
I'm not saying that they were the ones that are doing it. It was saying that many which are believed to be the result of arson. So
Oh,
there's
wow.
been lots of fires in North Carolina and Georgia, and over 80,000 acres have been devastated.
I mean,
They believe a majority of those are because of arson. And it's not like arson like they went and doused the entire forest in gasoline and then struck a match to it. It's arson and like they had a campfire probably and didn't put it out or something to that effect. Or
well, but that's not arson, is it? I mean, arson, I think, implies intent. I I didn't realize you could just accidentally commit arson. But maybe you might be right. I
yeah,
don't know what the
pretty
laws are.
sure you can. Like, and like that's how they would get people like starting a fire for flicking a cigarette or something like that. That would be
So,
considered arson.
wow, they can really charge you.
Kind of like manslaughter.
Wow.
I bet it's a lesser degree of arson versus you dousing the entire forest in gasoline and setting it ablaze.
Yeah.
But yeah, they still call it arson.
Well, we won't know much about because they're underage, right? So we're not going to know much about this until it's well set and all said and done, and probably years after that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's sad to hear.
I thought this was a pretty interesting Lifehacker article. If you've ever wondered what all those extra options on your digital camera are, this walks you through what each of them does. I thought that was pretty cool. I didn't know what some of those things were.
Yeah, I don't understand any of that stuff. But people use them. They are quite familiar.
So this one was super funny. So that mannequin challenge that's been going around that Michael's such a big fan of.
No.
Apparently someone did one where they were trying to resemble a drive-by shooting, but apparently the person holding one of the guns in that video is a felon. So police regularly check social media and happen to come across it, and yeah, so don't do stupid stuff and then post it online.
Yeah, that's not really thinking things through.
Yeah, apparently it happened in Alabama, which Johnny discovered today that they have banned, or they have an Anti-Obscenity Enforcement Act, which is an interesting read if you want to check that out. I like that they sell things as costumes. Oh, and big news! I'm not sure if it's when it's going to arrive or actually come out on devices, but Bluetooth 5 has been officially adopted.
It's not going to be till 2017, of course. We're so late into 2016 now, that goes almost without question. But we should start to see devices. I believe they'll be probably to later in the year in 2017, from what my understanding is. What we're going to have to see first come out is the chipsets supporting it, and those have yet to reach the market. And once those do, they'll have to be integrated into new products and then offered when when the time is right. Probably depending upon maybe a rollout for next holiday season. Who knows? That might be the next cool thing to get on for a late year purchase, hardware purchase. But 4 is not going away anytime soon. And one of the big advantages of 5, though, is I think they double the distance.
Longer range and much faster.
Speed. Yeah, and longer command queues or something like that. There's another little thing, but it's general improvements all around, and could allow for home-wide usage of home-wide connectivity. I imagine that's probably a smaller home or maybe apartment or something like that. But if they
Well,
are,
no, it's aggravating that I can't stay connected to Bluetooth and walk to the other side of my house.
yeah, it's a little bit more frustrating now that those are so common and ubiquitous for connecting things like even headsets and speakers these days.
Mhm.
So Bluetooth speakers were all the rage recently, and that's big for a lot of folks. So cool, thanks. I noted that too.
So the Cassini,
Cassini, the Saturn thing. What are you talking about?
So that has sent back some photos, and it shows the Saturn rings, and that picture makes it look like Saturn's really flat.
Yeah, it does. But note that this is an amazing feature that they've wanted to get a better look at, and they have had some better look at. But yeah, the top of Saturn, if you look straight down on it, is hexagonally shaped. And why it has this geometric shape that stays like this for, I think it's always been that way when we've observed it. I mean, it's not absolutely perfect, as you'll note, but it's pretty darn close. And it has something to do with the rate of rotation and the gases involved and the pressures and densities and other things, and some pole issues and magnetic field issues and all sorts of other factors that I don't even pretend to understand all the details of. But and it's supposed to be naturally occurring, but it does kind of look a little unusual, I think, if you'll, even in these relatively.
It does, and especially when you take into account that each side of that hexagon is as wide as our entire planet.
Wow. Yeah, that's a good point.
That's a massive storm. They say
and that eye, and the eye right at the center too, is creepy, like a ball, like an eyeball.
Yeah, they say it's
What's going on there? The eye.
Well, they say it's a storm, so I'd imagine it's like
It's like the one on Jupiter.
A somehow contained hurricane.
Yeah, it's like Jupiter, but the one on Jupiter moves a lot more and is not nearly as stable. This one is, from what I understand, is incredibly stable over incredibly long periods of time, and yeah, it's a one-of-a-kind thing, at least in this solar system.
Well, they'll probably get a lot more pictures of it. They got.
But think about it.
To go around.
If well, that'll be great. But we don't always get to see far off things at different angles, and there could be features, just at an angle we haven't observed, even on planets in our own solar system. Certainly outside of our solar system, they're so far away that we would never even have the ability to discern something of that nature. So it actually could be quite common. It could be maybe more often than not. There's a storm on these gas giants that focuses around the pole that creates a remarkably geometric and stable shape. But we would never know until we actually saw those other planets. So.
So apparently the IRS has released a new tool to show you your account balance, and what I found interesting about it is that you can only use the account balance feature from 6 a.m. to 12:30 a.m. Monday through Fridays, 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. on Saturdays, and 6 p.m. to midnight on Sundays. Isn't that kind of weird? And those are all Eastern time.
Probably has to do with the times that they close out accounts and accrue interest and things like that.
I was thinking maintenance and stuff, but yeah, yours
probably more of an accounting thing.
Yeah, yours sounds more reasonable.
Reasonable. But that's not the first thing. That's not the first government thing, though. It seemed like, when more and more services and things from the government started coming online, they were hourly. That's why, but.
Yeah, so like the government decided to have office hours on the internet. Please come back during regular business hours.
I thought they just wanted to hassle us, and like.
That's probably true on that.
Like they didn't want to convenience people, but convenience people. I said I didn't want to do that.
Yeah. They're like, this is an awesome tool. How can we make it worse? Give them time limits. The only thing worse they could add is like a time limit of how long you have to look at it.
No, yeah.
Hurry up, the website's getting ready to close.
Yep. So if you're looking for free things, apparently there's 2 Lifehacker articles here about, one is about finding free lectures. So if you want to learn stuff, you can do that. And then another one is about finding free open source electronic projects. So if you want to build stuff, you can do that. I thought those both looked interesting. So you can learn and build, or build while you learn, I guess, both things. Yeah. That's weird. I haven't read this article yet. It just was the first thing that popped up when I looked at new articles. Apparently, Japan is tagging and tracking old people with QR stickers. I'm guessing on their thumbs, to keep their wandering elders in check, adding barcodes to their thumbnails and toenails.
Goes along with them giving up their driver's license, or was that China? I can't remember now.
I don't think it's here, but why wouldn't they just keep better track of their old people? Like, Japan's one of those countries where they don't put people in old folks' home. They like have generations of people in the same house. Not sure why they don't just keep better track of their.
Well, they're also big in technology, so I imagine they would appreciate assistance. But it's yeah. I mean, it's like, are you gonna put a chip in your child, or are you just gonna keep track of where they are? I mean, how many?
Oh, I would definitely put a chip in my child. Those things are hard to keep up with, man. Have you ever been to a grocery store with one of them?
Those things. Let's ask Proctor. He's got 3.
It doesn't matter if you go to a grocery store.
He's got 3 of those things.
If you go to a grocery store at least once in your life, you're gonna lose your kid. If you take your kids to the grocery store, you're gonna lose one of them.
Are you gonna lose your kid, or is your kid gonna lose you?
Both. They both happen.
Yeah, it's
always
You're
fun.
gonna get separated.
Yeah, it's always fun to see like one kid in one aisle screaming and then a parent in a different aisle screaming, and then like you just walk back and forth between the aisles watching them both.
Do not let Brantley take my kids to the grocery store.
But yeah, I've lost a kid in a grocery store. It's extremely scary.
You've lost yourself in a grocery store.
That's true as well. But yeah, especially in like these days of Amber Alerts and stuff like that, it's super scary if you lose your kid. So I would definitely have a tracker on them. I'd have like 4 or 5 trackers. So if they like cut an arm off, I'd still be able to find them.
Okay. That's a bit morbid.
Jeez,
That's
Proctor,
the last thing you'll want to see is
Proctor, you don't want to find your kid.
Oh, you're monitoring it on your phone. Oh no, the arm went the opposite way of the foot.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. What if you have 7 different
They're
locations
30 feet away.
for the various sensors inside your child? Oh, wow.
It would be scary. Proctor, you made it sound like you wouldn't want your kid back if he got his arm chopped off.
It'd be like
Oh, no,
7
I definitely want my kid back.
skeleton pieces.
I won't be doing chores at that point, so.
Yeah, they wouldn't be very good at chores. You're right.
Yeah.
Not worth it anymore.
Well, that's if they were asking for a ransom, they're not
They
getting
they send you an arm with a ransom note, and you're like, this decreases its productivity. I'm gonna have to take that into account on this ransom negotiation.
There's a reason people have kids. And that's
Yeah.
a lot of it.
It's because they get tired of doing dishes. Mowing the lawn. Hey, Michael, I know you were very impressed with the last one that I posted, which, by the way, is still the tallest shot ever made. But a Harlem Globetrotter decided to take up the trick as well and made a 583-foot free throw shot into a basketball goal. This one was a little bit cooler because it's like the basketball arcs, like it kind of like it like arcs back and then towards the goal. It's a pretty nice shot. But the dam is still the best one. Yeah, I thought it was pretty awesome too, Brian. So if you're worried about robots in the future, be even more worried now because UC Berkeley researchers have built a wall jumping robot. So this robot can jump walls. Currently, it's only able to jump about 1.2 meters. That's just under 4 feet. Still pretty freaking high. I don't even know if I can jump 4 feet in the air. I think I can.
Dude, I can jump like 4 inches into the air.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's like you don't jump nearly as high as you feel like jumping. I can tell you that.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, can I jump 4 feet in the air? I'm not sure. Maybe if I pull my legs up while I'm doing it, I don't know. So more DIY stuff if you want to be a little bit cheaper for your Xmas presents, or I guess put love into your presents or something. Maybe that's a better way to think of it. There's 12 DIY electronic kits that you can start off with and possibly give away to a young developer, you know, maybe. It's pretty cool though.
Wait, what was that?
12 DIY projects. Like they got a DIY robot for $185.
Doesn't sound very DIY if you gotta buy it, especially for that.
Well, it's the kit. You have to put it all together. And then a speaker cube. And those little bit kits do look pretty interesting. Like you snap together all kinds of electronics and stuff.
Yeah, I linked to one of those. I got the Rule Your Room kit for Wyatt.
Nice. Yeah, they got a base kit for 100, a gizmos and gadget kit for 200, and an electronic synth kit for 160. I don't have your Rule Your Room. I do remember you linking to it. That's what I was saying. Those looked interesting when I looked into them. Squishy circuits. I don't know what that is. And the Arduino starter kit. You can do quite a few things with that. The Kano Raspberry Pi kit. And some Adafruit things. So definitely start training your kids on repairing electronics and working with electronics. Actually, Proctor and Nick, I would highly recommend that you both start making sure. Obviously, Nick, since you got them that, you're on your way. But Proctor, I would start training your kids to repair electronics because
they're gonna grow up and be stupid if you don't.
Well, no, when they grow up, they're not going to be able to get a job.
Yeah,
all the jobs that they would regularly get, like being a McDonald's server or something like that, is going to be replaced by robots. But if you want them to still get a job, if they know electronics, they'll be the ones fixing those robots. And that's where the jobs are going to come from in the future. So I would highly recommend a large focus on electronics and circuitry and repair. That will definitely be the best way to future-proof your kid. And remember, you're banking on them for retirement.
Yeah, no, they gotta.
So you want to give them all the advantages you can give them.
Mhm.
And there's your build your room kit, the
Yeah.
rule your room kit. Cool.
That's the one I got wide. That to me, I looked at a bunch of those little bits kits, and that to me looked, well, for one thing, it was on sale. I think it was like more off than that, but I hope. But it was, it looked to me to be like less intimidating than some of the other things. I think one of the kits, it was like the makey or something, kind of what I wanted, or like the premium electronics, kit or whatever, but it was like reviews and things like that. They were like, it's all simple and stuff, but not really for kids. Not really for teaching kids. Like you got to work your way up to it a little bit with the smaller kits, and the kits they're linking to, like the 160, $200 kits. Those
Yeah.
are the ones that you don't want to get your kid first thing. You want to get the lesser kit.
Yeah.
Plus, I don't want to spend that kind of money if he thinks it sucks.
Yeah.
And, so.
Yeah,
And
that's
I can
pretty cool.
do Radio Shack stuff if I want to with Radio Shack stuff.
I might want to order one of those for Matthew.
All that stuff. Yeah, you should do that. Yeah, it's still on sale.
You can get one for Hannah too. It's not guys only. Quit being so
That's
sensitive,
true. That's true. You
Yeah.
shouldn't. You should. Actually, seriously, he brings up an interesting point. You should definitely not. And wish Futures Tech Shree was here. You should definitely not restrict your female children from what you may think of as classically male interests.
True, true. I agree with you. It was actually, when Hannah was younger, she actually got upset. She said, I wish I were a boy so that I could like colors other than pink and purple.
Oh.
That's so sad.
That is.
Yeah.
Oh. Gosh. Yeah, you should get her something too.
What was your response to that, out of curiosity?
Crying tears.
She said it to my mom. I'm not sure what my mom's response was.
Oh. Obviously, it should have been like,
I heard about
"Wait,
it
like other
secondhand.
colors too."
Yeah. I'm sure she did.
All right. Well, we've reached our hour for the day, so let's go ahead and wrap her up today. I'll leave you with one last interesting link here. Apparently, Philip Morris has submitted their first tobacco vaporizer for FDA approval. So the maker of Marlboro cigarettes is coming out with a vape pen.
I thought they already had one.
They, I thought they had the blue, but maybe that's Philip, or maybe that's the other one. But I know one of them owns blue.
This was RJR. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, Philip Morris's looks completely different, and they're taking a different tact at it. So apparently you get like a little battery pen, obviously, but then the cartridge is going to be just like a cigarette filter. So it'll be the same size and shape and everything, and
That's
you put that
so weird.
cartridge in there, and then you hit it like a cigarette. And then it's got like a charging pack that comes with it. So I don't know. But yeah, at least it's better to see that they are trying to get out of just selling tobacco, I
How are
guess.
they saying this changes everything? This changes nothing. What does this change?
Yeah, this doesn't change anything. That was a very bad, poorly picked subtitle. But Engadget has a habit of doing that. Same with Gizmodo. Who does make the blue cigarettes?
I don't even make some blue made them, I think. Well, they were bought,
Yeah, Reynolds. Reynolds is the largest shareholder. So RJ Reynolds is the one that owns blue. Yeah, I thought that was interesting to put out there, that the game is changing.
Oh, maybe I didn't read this. It uses real tobacco leaf cartridges.
So it's actually a dry herb vaporizer. It's not a
Yeah, it's a dry herb vaporizer.
liquid vaporizer.
It's like, yeah, those have been around.
But I mean, I guess the big thing there that changes the game is that it's coming from a major cigarette manufacturer.
Well, how are they going to keep you from putting your own tobacco in the thing? That's what I want to know.
Unsure. I'm sure they'll figure out some way, just like we can replace coils and the pre-built atomizers that we buy if we wanted to, but it'll probably end up being cheaper to get the cartridges from them, I bet.
Well, I mean, actually I guess it could change something. It may appeal to those who have tried, crap like the blue and ended up getting, I mean, with all the bad experience that it is.
Well, I mean, I gave
one of the worst things being the juice in your mouth.
Yeah, well, I gave my mom and her fiance Pravaris and juice and set up the whole thing with everything, Natos and everything, but she didn't like it. He didn't like it just because they don't want their cigarettes to taste like candy or fruit or anything. They want their cigarettes to taste like a cigarette.
Tobacco, generic tobacco.
Yeah.
Tobacco with a hint of vanilla.
Yeah, but it still doesn't taste like a cigarette, so.
Oh yeah, it doesn't have all the tar in it, which I guess you're going to get from this thing. So what does it matter? You're going to get a lot of that anyway,
Yeah, so maybe that's why they still have a filter on it, or they went with that filter style. Who knows? Let's see what happens if they actually come out with it. It looks like they're pretty ready to come out with it from that look at that product, but heat stick packs cost around $6 on average. That's not that bad. It's actually cheaper than cigarettes in a lot of states. Anyway, we'll see where it comes from and what happens. And
right on.
Anyway, thanks everybody for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow at 6 p.m. for a Friday show. Again, we are here to provide support and answer any questions about our products and services mainly, but otherwise we enjoy talking shop and discovering weird and interesting things that are out there. So we'll be back tomorrow. Thanks everyone. Bye, Internet. Take this one out, Proctor.